Hello. Oh my God. I know it's been a really long time, probably like 6 months. I'm sorry, but I really needed that break. But I'm back, and guess what? We have a new name. She's called Unscripted with Karishma Patel, which is crazy to even say because I was about to say it's not selfish, but out with the old, in with the new. Welcome back. I'm so happy that you're here today. And thank you so much for listening in and being here with me because I know I put you through a journey. But let's get into it. Today I have a really, really special guest, and her name is Upasna Gautam. Did I say that right?
Absolutely, okay. You did.
I just want to make sure.
I appreciate it.
Welcome to Unscripted.
Yay, Unscripted. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Fun fact, I met Upasna just a few days ago, and I was telling her about my rebrand, and I was like, I've been thinking about this for 6 months. That's another reason why I took such a long break. And I was telling her that I really need to change my name, and I've been thinking about all these names. And she's like, you know what? Let's just do it right now. Because I was like, I don't want to start the new season with the old name. I want to start all over. And we came up with Unscripted.
Yeah, it was like the most epic power brunch over 2 hours, just getting shit done. It made me so happy to watch it come to life and now get to sit here and do it with you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And tell us everything about you.
Oh, man.
What do you do, why you're in Austin, or how long you've been in Austin, and everything else.
So I've been in Austin for a decade officially. So I think I qualify as an Austinite now. Yeah.
Am I almost there? I'm like 6 years.
Yeah, I feel like once you're past 5, you can start adopting the title, and then 10 years, like you're in, you're good.
I just can't let go of my California past.
That's fair.
That's a California girl.
Yeah.
At heart.
You can be both. I was born and raised in Michigan. Grand Rapids, Michigan is home. My parents are still there. Extended family still there. I went to Michigan State University. I was a biomedical sciences major, and I worked in clinical research scientist as a clinical research scientist at a pharmaceutical company for my first year out of college, and I hated it. And I knew I wanted to break into tech, and that led me to my career in tech over the past 15 years. I am currently a senior product manager at CNN. That's my 9 to 5. I manage building, optimizing, and developing the content management platform that delivers breaking news to the world. So everything you see like on the website, the mobile app, all the digital platform distribution that happens on CNN, the technology behind that is what me and my team build. So that's my 9 to 5. I've been there for 5 years. I work remotely here in Austin, which is amazing. So I travel to New York and Atlanta often, usually once a quarter, to collaborate with my teammates in person. I do a lot of stuff outside of my 9 to 5 though. I'm a mom of a 16-month-old.
So cute.
Oh man, she is rowdy, and I just don't understand where she got it from. In addition to that, I am also the chair of the board of directors at the News Product Alliance, it's a community of practice for people who work in tech in news, particularly in news and media, just because journalism and news is at a really interesting and important inflection point in history where the pace of technology and innovation isn't exactly keeping up with the speed of news. And so we need to bring in subject matter experts from technology into news and media while also providing the resources and educational opportunities for people, especially in like local and hyper local newsrooms who don't have tons of money to support those technology builds and practices. So our nonprofit helps to elevate the practice of product management and other technology disciplines in news. I've been a part of the community for a long time. I was on the board for a year. And then in 2024, I was appointed chair of the board, and I'm serving another term in 2025. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, definitely check out the News Product Alliance. And then also I'm a freelance journalist at CNN, an investor, content creator. I love talking all things career, money, leadership. And I think we're going to talk about some of that today.
I don't understand how you do all that. How does your brain work?
I have no chill.
How is it not jumbled up?
It is.
Because I literally can't even figure out what I'm going to eat like after this.
Oh, that is the worst thing. I hate thinking about what to eat every day. It drives me nuts. That's why I usually eat the same things.
Every single day.
Not every single day, but have like a rotation of things. And like, decision fatigue is real. And I love to figure out how to alleviate decision fatigue.
Well, how do you manage to do all of this in your day to day, or is it a weekly thing?
I think every day is drastically different.
Okay.
Today is, what day is it today? Friday. I'm on vacation. It's my last day of holiday vacation. I wrote a little bit this morning. I'm here doing a podcast at family time this afternoon. Like every day is different. But once I'm back in the work routine, Monday through Friday is pretty structured. And I don't mean like rigid, like this time to this time, but more of like an order of operations or like a flow of activities. Yeah. Like I have to start the day with working out. Yeah. And the days that I don't, it just sets me up for failure as opposed to sets me up for success. And you know that very well, especially since we talked, you're trying to wake up earlier to work out. And for me, like that momentum to kickstart the day informs all of the other successes I'm going to have throughout the day. Yeah.
I mean, what's some tips for someone like me to build a structure like that?
Start very small.
Set yourself up for success.
Start very small. And actually, I'm going to use you as an example because we just talked about this when we were having coffee. You were talking about how, okay, I usually wake up between 9 and 10, but I'm going to try for 7 to 8. Yeah. And 7 is your ideal goal, but you don't go from 10 to 7. No. You make incremental changes to ultimately get to your ideal positioning. And actually, that's very much, I feel like sometimes I'm innately just good at stuff like that because it's also like my job. We call it iteration in product management, where you start with a minimum viable product, something that is small and achievable but gets the job done, and then you incrementally build upon that and improve upon that. And you do the same thing with habits or routines or, waking up early, working out. Like if you want to start weightlifting, you don't go to the gym and pick up the heaviest dumbbell, right? Like you do progressive overload. Yeah. Progressive overload is like another form of iterative development. Yeah. So like start really, really small. If your goal is to wake up at 5 a.m., but you wake up at 9 a.m. right now, can you wake up at 8:30? Can you wake up at 8 o'clock? Start small.
Yep. I know this week I started waking up at 7:40.
Yes.
I'm like, who is this bitch?
I love this for you.
I'm so happy.
I'm so proud of you.
And remember, I was telling you, thank you. I was telling you that with my waking up on early, it's also with being on place at that time. Like today I was on time.
Yes.
Right on time, like on the time.
Yes. I'm
trying to be 5 minutes
that.
earlier, but that's how I'm stacking both of those things. I'm not a good habit stacker, but I feel like that just goes well together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And another thing is make it easy for yourself. Yeah. Like I'm going to go back to, because a lot of people have goals, it's the new year around working out, living a healthier lifestyle, going to bed early, waking up early. And it's like, what are things you can do to make it easier for you? And I'm going to go back to something I mentioned just a minute ago. Eliminate decision fatigue. Stop. Make it easier for yourself to make decisions, like picking out your clothes. Like I literally put my workout clothes every night. I do. Here. And even like make sure laundry is done so that I'm not scrambling for shit when I wake up at 5 a.m. I wake up at 5 a.m. because I have to, because I have a 17-month-old, because that morning time is really precious to me. Also, I've been doing it for a really long time, so and I love it for me. It works for me. There was also a point in time where my husband, in his previous job, before we even had a child, he had a very rigid schedule. He's a veterinarian. He was working in clinics at that time, and he had to be out of the house at 7 a.m. We used to wake up at 4 a.m. to go to a 5 a.m. workout.
Oh my God.
4 times a week. And it was also the only time we usually got to hang out in the morning. And we loved it. We loved that time that we had. So you have to figure out what works for you based off of the life you want to live and based off of the current situation you're operating within.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of New Year, we were talking about this too, because as the New Year comes, everyone wants to hit their goals, make crazy goals. And you and I were talking about how sometimes that's just not achievable. You have to start building your foundation. For me, it was my only 2 goals for this year, because you and I were talking about how every year you grow older, your goals are kind of like not as big. They're more like building the foundation that you have. Like mine is waking up early to help me be like a better productive person.
Yes.
During my days. And that's like my only goal this year. Waking up early and time management. That's my 2 goals.
Those are huge.
They are huge.
And you'll see like things like that, the mastering the basics will trickle into every other aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I think of it as like not resolutions or goals, but like set standards for your lifestyle, set standards for the life you want to live. They're non-negotiable habits. And I literally wrote this on my Instagram story this morning because I was thinking about it. I did not want to work out this morning. I was not in the mood. I was just like woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to get 5 sets in of like just 5 different lifts and 5
like
sets
a walk.
in. Yeah. Which I did earlier this week too. And I went, and afterwards I was thinking about like, you know, the beauty of showing up for yourself in some capacity consistently is that the end goal is actually that you want it to become so mundane that you don't even think about it.
Exactly.
Like how we brush our teeth every day, how we like whatever. I use brush our teeth because we all like, it's like sometimes we begrudgingly do it, but you do it. It's a non-negotiable.
Yeah, it's more discipline versus motivation.
Absolutely.
It's the only reason I get my ass to work out.
Or
else if I do it basically on motivation, I'm not going to have motivation every single day.
Absolutely. And I think those are like the basics, the mundane, the routine things will like unlock things like passion, motivation, creativity.
Yeah.
Like those are byproducts of mastering the basics.
Yeah, I agree. So since it is the new year and we were talking about goals and stuff, what like advice, because you do so many things. You are literally everywhere, starting new things, helping other people, which I was telling you that I really appreciate that. It's like older sister vibes. Like
I love that.
You
Thank
literally... I don't know, after our lunch, I just felt so freaking powerful. And I think that's so important.
It is.
Especially like in our community, we don't have a lot of women supporting women and genuine support. So like what advice would you give for people in the new year trying to start something new? Like a new job, a new career, building a new business, small business, whatever it is.
In addition to, you know, the more logistical, technical parts of taking action, I actually want to double down on what you just said. Relationships are everything.
Yeah.
They are the beginning of everything, and they are also the height of your potential. They will determine the height of your potential. We can only go so far by ourselves, but we can go, well, I always say this, you can go fast by yourself, but you can go further with other people.
So true.
And like, it took me a long time to learn that. It took me, I'm turning 40 this year. And like, it took me until age 37 to really realize that, because I was, talk about selfish, and we were talking about this at lunch. I was like, if this person cannot directly help me get what I want in my career, bye, I don't have time for you. And then I realized when I got to this point in my career where I checked all the boxes, had all the things, really all I wanted at that point was connection, community.
Yeah.
And I think my one piece of advice, especially if you are a woman of color or a woman starting a new goal, starting a new ambition, embarking on a new journey, is to focus on the people.
Yeah.
That will make your experience richer. It will help you think in new and different ways, and find the people who support you, but also challenge you.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about. Like, you and I were having some difficult, uncomfy conversations. And I was like, ooh, I feel so weird, because we were talking about like money.
Yeah.
And especially, I feel like women especially, we're just scared to talk about money. And I was telling you, growing up, I grew up with a golden spoon, and I'm very, very thankful, very, very blessed, and I'm very, very grateful. But I never learned how to be on my own financially.
Yeah.
And so you and I were talking about it, and I felt so uncomfortable, but also like it was so rewarding because you had so much insight and support versus saying, oh, you're just a spoiled little brat. Because that's what I've been told my entire life, but that's not the reality. I am trying to build something of my own. I don't want to depend on anyone. That's like my biggest goal in my entire life. I just want to be something for myself. And you and I are really getting into that part.
And I think about, there's two things from that conversation that really stuck out to me and from what you just said. One is the discomfort around this topic because it has been just blindly labeled as taboo.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this again over when we were having your conversation about, you know, your upbringing and how that has, you know, resulted in how you feel now about having conversations about money. And it's not just you. This is a lot of women of color. This is also me, you know, 5 years ago as well. And I was like, wait a minute. Why is it uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Why is it taboo? And it's because this system, the capitalist oligarchy that we live in, was built. It was literally built to keep women out and to keep women powerless.
Yeah.
And in this country and in this system, if you do not have money, you don't have power. Full stop, period. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
There's no, that is not up for debate. If you, true power in this country can only be activated through wealth and money.
Yeah, which is a sad
It is a very shitty reality.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean don't fight the good fight.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You do. Both two things can be true at the same time. Also having the agency and ability to say, just like a lot of us are doing now, I want to learn. I want to learn from myself. I want to learn from my community. I want to break the cycle of like dependency and powerlessness.
Yes.
And so many amazing things happen when you start to educate yourself.
Yes. You know, my husband is like the biggest supporter in that. And he actually taught me so much more than I ever would have learned. Like, I didn't know shit. Like, I literally was like, wait, what? I have to do this? I have to do this? Like, you know, have you seen the Schitt's Creek?
Yes.
And where David goes, you just write it off. I am David. I am literally David. And
do you know what a tax write-off is?
You just write it off. That's literally me. And so Shay taught me everything. And it was sad and also cool at the same time, because when I would ask my dad growing up, and, you know, I come from an Indian Gujarati household, and most Gujarati parents take care of their children like until college or until you get married. Especially women, they don't want you to work. I tried to get a bunch of tutoring jobs. Like, I tried to do my thing to make a little extra cash, but my dad would always say, no, Dikra, you don't need to, you're always going to be taken care of. And in my head I was like, oh, okay, I don't have to do shit. And then I would ask him about financial questions, be like, oh, no, you don't understand, so you don't need to learn about it. So then that would immediately shut me down. And so I never fucking learned. And then you grow up, you get married, and you're like, fuck, I feel so fucking useless. I feel powerless. I created my brand, and I was like, fuck, I could actually do this. Now I want to learn. And then Shay was my biggest supporter and teacher, and I love him. He teaches me everything.
That's amazing. And I want to pin something in what you just said. The person you marry is the most important financial decision you'll ever make. It's the most important career decision you'll ever make. It will make or break your ambitions. And like, especially, it doesn't matter which path or upbringing you come from. Similarly, I was also like fairly spoiled, had a lot of things handed to me, but my parents also, I am the eldest of 3 daughters. My dad instilled in us to make sure you're independent, but the knowledge, the actual like technical knowledge around how to do it was very based off of like save, as opposed to like, how does investing work and how do you make your money work for you? But regardless of that, when I met Chris, my husband, when we were dating, that was one of the first conversations we had, was about money and putting it all on the table. He also came from a very privileged upbringing, not just because he is white, but because his parents and his father, you know, worked really, really hard to set his family up for success as well. And I learned so much from him too. And it's interesting because we joke now that that the student has become the master.
Yeah.
And it was like, my credit score is like 3 points higher than yours now, and you're the one that helped me get it to like 800.
I love that. So that's the difference with you and I. I was the youngest.
Yeah.
I was also telling you, my older sister, she's blind.
Yes.
And so our dynamic was so different. It was, I'm a younger child, rebellious, and then I also have to help take care of my sister who's older and blind. So my shit was scattered.
Absolutely.
And my parents, I think they couldn't understand the dynamic either. So they were like, okay, we're just going to take care of you guys. Don't worry about anything else.
Absolutely.
And I completely understand. And they shielded us from a lot of things, which grateful, but also like, I wish I learned more. But then Shay grew up working since he was 15 years old. Even though he had like, his parents took care of him, he was like, no, I want to get out of the house. I want to work. Yeah. And he's been like driven since 15 years old. And every day I tell him, God, I wish I could be like you. And I've become better than before. Yeah. Thank you. I'm becoming better. Obviously not like him, but definitely when you marry someone or are with someone that is more driven than you automatically want to be driven. And
absolutely.
Oh my God, life has changed.
Yeah.
This is why I'm a morning person now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh my gosh. Yes, Shay, I am in it with you. We're going to make this girl a 5 a.m.er.
Hopefully one day.
But on that note too, I will say like, you know, Chris similarly, you know, he could have turned out to be the privileged white douchebag so easily. Yeah. He did not. One, because his parents did an amazing job raising him. Yeah. Second, he had the work ethic to be like, no, I'm going to go do these things for myself, by myself, with the support of parents, of course. And that's what, and now as a parent myself, you don't wish hardship upon your child, but you also want them to learn the lessons along the way. The other thing I wanted to touch on, you were like, you know, being with someone, marrying someone, and like I mentioned, it's the most important financial career decision you'll ever make. Similarly are the people you keep in your company and in your circle. Yeah. It is, I just can't emphasize that enough, because to me it's so intertwined. Yeah. The height of your ambition, your career, your earning potential is directly related to the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah, all my girlfriends, they're like career driven. They all make their own money. I mean, it's so inspiring, and I'm just like, fuck, I'm gonna get there one day.
You will. You're already doing it.
Yes, but you know, I think the only thing that like makes me not like puts me down a little to my like put myself down is like, you know, I'm 31 years old and having these conversations at this age, I'm like, am I too old? Like, I'm sure every other woman probably feels the same way who's been in my situation or is in my situation, and it's just like, what am I doing? You know, you're always asking like, what am I doing? Why am I not feeling useful? Why am I feeling powerless? Like, why can't I do this? And then you see younger people doing the thing and making their money and being independent, which is fucking amazing. I love it. I love to see it. Yeah. It's just like, fuck. It's, you know, uncomfy. That's where the uncomfy conversation.
But it's healthy.
Like, I'm uncomfortable right now.
This is healthy discomfort.
No, I know. It's
and
very
like,
healthy.
You know what I always say? Like, it's only weird if you make it weird.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But also, the first step is you got to talk about it.
Yes.
Like, and what you are doing is actually the hardest first amazing step. I freaking twisted your arm to have this conversation about money. Oh, I was like, you have to do it, Karishma.
And I was fuck, I can't, I don't know. I think it's more like I'm uncomfortable. Plus I'm like always, not that I usually care what people think about me. Yeah. But when it comes to this part, I think, I don't know why. It's because money's such a taboo subject. Yeah. It's like mental health, but mental health comes easy to me. Yeah. But money, it's like so hard to talk about. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm a brown woman, but it's fucking hard. And
it's a combination of so many things. And like
ways. I was like, fuck it.
And you start again small, right?
I think it's because people make you feel so shameful too.
That is the part. And also fuck them. They're not your people.
Exactly.
Like they probably have nothing valuable to offer.
Oh, for sure.
You will know immediately. Yeah. Like I always say this, like the way you feel after you spend time with someone, especially when you have difficult conversations with them about mental health, money, fertility, marriage, family drama, the way you feel after you spend time with that person tells you everything you need to know.
Oh, for sure.
And like, that's, I was telling you, like, my first date with my husband, we did all of the things you're not supposed to do on a first date. He took me to Taste of Ethiopia, favorite Ethiopian restaurant in Austin, and we ate with our hands, and we talked about exes, money, politics, and religion.
No, not the exes too in there.
Yeah, that was actually like the shortest.
That's like a 10th date
top
conversation.
We were like, fuck it, we're putting it all on the table.
Yeah,
I'm not here to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was great. And it turned out, you know, it wasn't so much about the details of those things, but more about what are your values around these things? What do you as a person stand for? And I think like going back to the conversation about goals and like the new year and taking action, I encourage everyone to think about not just what is the task you can check off a list, but what is the type of person you want to be, and what are the values that person holds.
No, that's really important, because you're taking you like to the end of time.
Yes.
The task is just going to be there. You complete it and it's done.
Absolutely.
But you're with you forever.
Forever.
Yeah. So what kind
it's
of
your longest relationship. So
100%.
Yeah.
That's why I always say, be freaking nice to yourself, be taking care of yourself, and spend time with quality people.
Absolutely. And at the end, and I think when you start to do that, like, and the 30s are interesting. You're at the beginning, I'm at the end, and I will tell you, like, it was also the first part was hard. The second part was amazing. The second part felt like I was unlearning all of the shit that people told me I was supposed to do, supposed to be, supposed to say.
That's the stage I'm in right now.
Yeah. And through that, I'm sure you're going through this too, and this is a lifelong thing, but I feel like in your 30s, it's really amplified, is like auditing everything.
Yeah.
Your circle, your finances, your career, your circle. Yeah. Like that is, it will set, and what you do in that time sets you up for all of the things you can and cannot accomplish later.
Oh, for sure. Your circle is probably one of the most important things.
It's like your partner and your friends. Like, you know, I think when I think about mental health, and of course it's so nuanced and multifaceted, but I think some of the basic things you can do, and I know you'll agree with this, is take care of your body and take care of your circle.
Yep.
And I'm telling you that mastering those two things and creating a strong foundation with those two things will trickle down and create this beautiful domino effect into every other part of your life.
No, that's so true. I'm learning to do both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it can be really hard.
It's so hard
to like balance both of those things.
It's so hard.
Especially as you get into your 30s, you're still learning and meeting new people.
Yeah.
And also you're kind of scared too to meet new people.
Yeah.
Like when we had our one-on-one lunch, I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I'm just a very anxious person. Yeah. So whenever we've only hung out like 2 times other than that, because we met at a Diwali dinner.
Yep.
And then I went to your house for the meditation, also another power lunch where I cried. Oh my God.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And it made me, it was I don't even have the words, and I don't take it lightly that you shared so vulnerably, but yeah, it was beautiful.
I'm just a really emotional person.
It's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Sometimes it's good. Sometimes I get in my head. I'm like, oh my God, everyone thinks I'm a crybaby, but it's fine.
There's nothing wrong with crying. It's not that serious. It's so good for you.
Yes,
it's so good for you.
It's so good for you. And then you glow the next day.
Absolutely. Every time my daughter's crying, I'm like, yeah, girl, get it out.
But after our power lunch, I was like, see what comes out of like getting out of your comfort zone.
100%.
We had such a powerful conversation. We had such a powerful bonding.
Yep.
I mean, literally, it was the best time.
Yeah.
I will continue to think about it forever.
The question you asked earlier about, like, you know, what advice would I give women, you know, who are starting something new, is one is, you know, it's all about the relationships, but putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. Go to that thing that you don't feel like going to, but you keep thinking about. And I will say, like, that the Diwali dinner that you and Aishwarya had invited me to, God, that was in 2023.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was 2023. And I almost didn't come because I'm also like, deep down, I am a nerdy introvert. I love being alone. It's because I feel like there are parts of my job that require me to be very articulate and talkative, and I public speak. But I would say it's more of like, for me, in order for me to recharge, I require solitude. And but also like going into a group of an intimate group of women that I don't know, who are from my community. But I know they're like from my community. I'm like, what am I gonna have to talk about? And I think also I was also 3 months postpartum, so that probably also was like
were changing.
The hormonal things were happening. But I'm so grateful that I did, because there are, like, you included, several women in that group who have become dear friends now. And so, and dear friends, I mean like people who are thought partners, who I can share work, personal, family things with, and like bounce ideas off of, collaborate with. Again, like you being one of those people. And so I think like relationships, stepping out of your comfort zone, those two things are very intertwined.
Yeah, those are two things I would say the same thing. Because when I started my gram and this podcast, I just was so uncomfortable, but I was like, you know what? It's scary, but it's like a good kind of scary. So that would be my third advice. Like, if you feel like it's scary, but it feels good, that means you need to go for it.
And like reframe scary as exciting.
Yes.
That's like something I learned. Nervous excitement. Like, oh my God, this is going to be great. This is going to, like, hype yourself up before you do shit that makes you nervous. This is my ultimate public speaking hack. I've been public speaking for like 12, 13 years.
Wow.
And like, that was my original like personal branding foray. Before social media was a thing. Like, that was how I developed my personal brand. But I mean, and it took me almost a decade to really get over that like debilitating like nerve, that like debilitating level of nerve wrackedness. And the thing that I did that would always help me was two things. One is hype myself up and be like, I'm so excited. This is going to be great. Like, I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. And the second thing I would tell myself is, it's just not that serious. We're all humans.
Yeah. So when it comes to like going for it, so three things that we said was, what was the first thing you said?
Start small.
Start small. Second was find your people, get out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
I said, get excited about the unknown. And my fourth one, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Okay, it'll come back to me.
It'll come back.
It'll come back to me. But it was something, okay, sorry. You're going to have to keep going because I completely lost my train of thought because it was something so good. I hate when that happens.
Well, speaking, I know exactly.
Imposter syndrome. How do you get over that when you do take on new steps? Because that is a big one for me when going for things and getting out of my comfort zone. I get major imposter syndrome.
I'm gonna repeat something that I have said on social media several times, which is there are whole ass incompetent dudes out here running companies, political parties, the government, presidential candidacies.
For real.
Like, just dispel imposter syndrome from your mind.
So I guess just think about that.
Think about that. Think about that. I have, and also like, you know, what's interesting is like working in tech, of course, is a male dominated field. And and over my 15 years of working in it, you know, you work and you activate different levels as you go through your career. You sit in bigger and bigger rooms with quote unquote important people. And the thing that I have learned and seen over and over again, now that I'm on the other side of it, is that they're not ridiculously brilliant or have things I don't have. Half of them are just fucking incompetent and just knew how to build relationships to get in different doors. They are not Albert Einstein's, and
they're just
and
male and confident.
It is just like something they're born with.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But like I said, there are whole ass incompetent dudes out here doing things that, like so many women are just scared to take a chance on doing. So I would say, one, it's not that serious. And second, you are probably smarter than 95% of the people already doing that thing. So like, I don't have imposter syndrome anymore because I've seen so many actual imposters at this point in my life that I'm like, that's not me.
You know what? That's a good way to put it, because now I'm gonna always think about the presidential shit and be like, yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you can do whatever the fuck.
You literally can. Yes, you can.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I think like imposter syndrome also, I hate that it's like this blanket diagnosis placed mostly on women, as if there's something wrong with us. It is normal to be nervous. It is normal to be anxious about like things you're working on. That's not imposter syndrome. That doesn't mean you are an imposter. It just means you feel nervous. It just means you feel anxious.
It's always the women though.
It absolutely is.
Right. Anytime
absolutely.
I have imposter syndrome conversations, it's always women that are like, I feel that too.
Yeah. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. We don't have imposter syndrome anymore, people. It's over. It's canceled.
I don't have it.
No, you don't.
I'm the shit.
Yes, exactly.
You can say that with a serious face.
You can be the shit and be confident and also feel nervous and also feel stressed and also navigate mental health struggles. All of these things can be true. That doesn't mean you're an imposter.
I love that. Can we repeat that? I'm going to run it back.
Shit. Yeah. I'm going to have to write that down when you send me this recording. I don't know what I just said.
No, that was you said you can be the shit. You can be confident. You can have anxiety and feel nervous, but that does not mean you have imposter syndrome.
Absolutely. Or that you're an imposter.
That you are
an imposter. No. Yeah. There are whole ass imposters just running around out there, making bank, living their best lives. Do you think they ask themselves, what should I do about my imposter syndrome? Let me take this master class on about how to be more confident. No, they fucking don't. They just go do their shit.
That is so fucking true. Now, on to confidence.
Also, I have never sworn this much on a podcast before. Oh my God, hope I don't get fired.
No. Well,
I'm just kidding.
I hope not.
I hope not.
Oh my God, you're scaring me now.
I'm just kidding.
Well, speaking on confidence, you literally shine with it. So tell me, like, how? What is your number one, like, how you became this confident?
It's a lifelong work in progress. I wish I could tell you there was a magic bullet for success or to be more confident, but I think it is an orchestra of different activities. Yeah. And some of the things we've talked about are focusing on taking action. I think I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Yeah. I love it because I get to pay forward knowledge and guidance that I've received, and it has led me to meeting incredible women who have become friends and mentors and partners in different ways. But also I hate it because we're constantly being sold to as if we constantly need things to fix.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying don't listen to podcasts, read books, take classes.
Yes, we were talking about this.
Yes. Go ahead. Do all that shit. There's some amazing educational content out there. Information has never been so accessible to us. Education is completely democratized in this world that we live in now. Get it. But what are you going to do when you're done? After you listen to that podcast, after you take that class, what
are the steps?
What are the actual tangible steps you're going to take towards something, towards anything, instead of spinning on a goal or a task or like, there's a trait that I talk about a lot amongst like engineers and product managers and tech that I work with who are really successful. And I call it high agency. And that is not waiting for conditions to be quote unquote perfect before you take action, but like just fuck around and find out.
Yes.
That is the only framework and formula you need to have. Just go for it. Just try it. First of all, it's very ego driven for us to think that everyone is just watching everything we're doing. No one cares.
No.
Just go do it. And then what that does is it gives you feedback. in order to build confidence is a byproduct.
Yeah.
It's a byproduct of taking action, getting feedback, sometimes failing, and then improving and iterating.
Yep.
It's a cycle.
Yep.
And the more times you repeat that cycle, the byproduct that comes out of that cycle is confidence.
Yeah.
The more you do it, the more confident you are.
It's just like when you hit rock bottom, every time you hit rock bottom, you hit it less hard.
Yeah.
And that's something that helped me
Yes.
become more confident, because it's like, okay, I'm going to fail, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think about like that in terms of like, what is your time to action? Let's say you get laid off from your job. And I'm not saying don't take time to process and feel your feelings. Do that. I say crying is an amazing, relief
Yeah.
processing mechanism, or do whatever you need to do, and hopefully in a healthy way, and seek the help and guidance that you need. But how long is it going to take you to take your next step?
Yeah, don't sit in that rut.
Don't wallow. Don't spin in it and like and honestly, don't victimize the circumstance.
Yeah.
Don't become a victim of your own circumstances.
Yeah.
We have bad shit that happens to people on this planet every single day.
Literally. It's
Every single day. One person's tragedy is not more or less important than someone else's, but if you are going to make that your whole fucking personality, then that's it. That's as far as you're going to get.
Yeah. That's another thing. Someone the other day messaged me, I love that you just live your life. And I was like, it took me back a little, because I was like, wait, what? I feel like I'm just doing mundane things. But then I sat there and thought about it, and I was like, I guess she probably means like I'm just happy doing things, even though there's so much shit that can be wrong or has gone wrong. And so that's something on adding to what you said. You just have to look for the good in everything you do.
100%.
Instead of wallowing in the bad. Like,
absolutely.
I will have a shit day, but even if I'm having a shit day, I'll be like, oh, but look, I get to move my body. I get to hang out with my dogs. I get to eat a really good meal. Like, I feel like people forget that there's so much good in your day.
Absolutely.
They're so focused on the bad. Like,
Yeah.
I don't look like that person. That person is more successful than me. But the more we keep doing that, the more comparison, we keep sitting in that comparison. You're never going to be happy.
No. And it's like, that is comparison, attachment.
Yeah.
Like, these things are the root cause of misery. And I just want to re-emphasize, like, the magic of life is in the mundane.
Yes, in the moments.
In the moments of doing what is, I love the boring stuff.
Me too.
I was just telling my husband, I've told him this multiple times over this past year. It has been a really special year in terms of my career, being able to do things and be in places that I never imagined. But at the end of it all, I remember coming back from the freaking White House, and I was texting my husband. I was like, that was awesome. I can't wait to come home.
Yeah.
And that is when I feel like the biggest unlocks in your life happen.
Yes.
Like, you are so happy and aware and proud of like the basics and the simple things, the boring things, the mundane things.
Well, boring for other people, but
I
for
think
me,
boring
it's
is
like
beautiful.
So fulfilling.
It's deeply fulfilling.
Yeah.
Because they are the bedrock of your life.
Yeah, coming home to just like a peaceful home.
Yes, it's everything.
The only thing I've ever wished for in
everything.
my entire life.
You know what I did yesterday? That was the best day ever.
Mm-hmm.
I have had the week off of work, and I very obviously love my career in all of its different facets. But what I did yesterday is I mostly stayed offline and organized and cleaned around my house, made coffee, made lunch, cleaned my daughter's playroom. Like, I had an amazing time. And like that, when you're able to find and see the joy in the simplicity and understand that like highs and lows don't make up most of your life.
It's that mundane stuff.
Yep. The mundane middle is most of your life.
Yep.
When you can appreciate that, everything else is easier to navigate.
Yeah.
The highs and lows are equally important, because I learned this through through 15 years of meditating, this term called equanimity. And that means being unshakable in the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and having this kind of groundedness in your day-to-day life. And even when something really, really amazing happens, you can look at it, appreciate it, love it, celebrate it, and let it be. Instead of having this deep attachment to like outcomes, and like having this just I don't want to say attachment, because that's where it's non-attachment to just living. And that woman who messaged you saying like, it seems like you're just living life, that comes from non-attachment to things and outcomes. Don't focus on outcomes, focus on the journey.
Yes.
Find joy in brushing your teeth and making a meal and petting your dog, and like everything else will fall into place.
Even those mundane things, that's what helps you build confidence as well.
100%.
When you can be just doing nothing and still be happy.
You've made it. That's how you know you've made it.
You don't need money. You don't need, even though we talked about money, but I'd like to have some money. But you know what I mean? Like, you don't need the materialistic things to be happy. It's when you can be, you're the happiest, you're the most confident. And then that's where you said when you're at your high, you can be the most confident.
Absolutely. And then you can very seamlessly come off of that and back into your day to day. It's seamless navigation through highs and lows.
Yeah, even when you're low, like you said, you can just go back to fall back to your routine, to your mundane stuff.
Exactly. And like that is, I think finding space for stillness of some kind in your life, synonymous with meditation. And meditation doesn't have to mean sit on a mat like a monk for 3 hours a day. I always say, we talked about this at my end of year gathering. Like, if you are trying to start a meditation practice, think of it as hanging out with yourself for a little while. Yeah,
like even when you're brushing your teeth, you can just say a few words to yourself, or just taking in those slow moments. My meditation is journaling right now. It is a form of meditation.
Absolutely.
You're silent. You're just with you and your thoughts, writing down your stuff.
Absolutely. And I think there is a misconception that you need to control your thoughts. And that's not the goal.
No.
It is to befriend your thoughts.
Yes.
And like when journaling is actually such a beautiful activity. I think I've journaling, walking, like with walk and don't listen to a podcast and just walk.
That's sometimes what I did this morning.
It is like it's meditation and movement. It's like you let your thoughts come and go freely. Address them or don't. Like, there's nothing to control, and it's like, get to the point where you love to hang out with yourself.
Yes,
that's like the ultimate goal.
That's the ultimate goal and the solution to all of your fucking problems.
It literally is.
I swear to God.
I will die on that hill. Yes, I agree.
I will too, because if you can't go out and eat out by yourself, then you need to start doing that.
100%.
About yourself.
These are the things that build confidence.
And that's the way you go for your thing. Like we said in the beginning of this podcast, of how to go for the thing. You have to learn to be like confident with yourself.
Absolutely. I have a really funny story. I remember. So I was in Seattle a couple months ago. I was on a trip with Chris for our anniversary, but we tacked on part of his work trip to it. So I had a lot of solo adventuring time. So I was out for lunch by myself one afternoon, and this girl and her mom were sitting at the table, like right across from me. So the little girl could see me and I could see her. And she is like, she's really fussy, you could tell. And the mom just like, she's frustrated. And I was just like, it's like, oh my God, I feel for you, girl. And all of a sudden, the little girl goes, why can't I have my own table like her? I died. I was like, this is actually so profound. And she, like, me doing that, Like, and I get it. In that situation, she was cranky. She just wanted to get the hell out.
Yeah.
Like, she wanted to just have her own space. And I went up to her afterwards, after I was eating my pho and I finished, and I went up to her and her mom and I was like, you will be able to have your own table one day, but right now I hope you enjoy this time with your mom.
Aww.
And the mom was just like, she was like so overwhelmed, and she barely said thank you because she was so overwhelmed, and I just smiled and I left. And it made me think of, you know, not only do we build confidence by doing these really simple things by ourselves and enjoying this time with ourselves, it's also an incredible mirror for other people.
Yeah.
In so many ways that we might not realize. And that is also how you become a magnet for other amazing people doing amazing things. Like when you're able to put everything you have on the table by yourself, literally and figuratively. You can go eat by yourself. You have everything you need to bring to the table. You don't need anyone else. The world is your oyster.
Oh, for sure.
And amazing people and opportunities will come into your orbit when you start operating from that mindset.
Yes. And with that, we're coming to an end to our podcast. It went by so fast.
That was an hour?
Yeah, that was almost, I think 50 minutes or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. we fucking went through it. But do you have any last things you want to share before we end? That was such a good way.
I will say, you know, because I know we talked a lot about goal setting and confidence building and like relationship building. And I feel like I'm entering that 2025 I'm really excited about. And I'm also, like I said, I'm turning 40. And so I'm doing a lot of extra reflecting on things that have helped me in my journey so much. And I want to reiterate and reemphasize that mastering the basics in a world that is flooding you constantly with information and people flooding you with information who think they know what's best for you, the most powerful revolutionary thing you can do is to learn to block it out and listen to your own voice.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean don't take inspiration from other people. Take inspiration, but make sure you take action immediately after.
Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
This was wonderful, and it was really insightful, and I'm just really grateful for your time.
Thank you. And here's to more Unscripted with Karishma.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. I keep forgetting I changed my name. Well, thank you so much for listening, you guys, and take care of yourself and tune in every Tuesdays for new episodes. Love you.